He marched to destroy the house of Allah. An army of thousands, elephants taller than houses, soldiers covered in gold and arrogance. The desert shook beneath their feet. But when they raised their swords against the Kaabah, Allah sent birds from the sky. Not an army, not angels with thunder, just birds carrying stones. And in a single morning, pride was turned into dust. Before we continue, subscribe to QissaVerse. Beneath the burning skies of Yemen, where kingdoms rose and fell like the tide, there lived a man who thought himself powerful enough to challenge the house of Allah. His name was Abraha, a general turned ruler, a man whose pride grew faster than his empire. He wore armor of gold, rode white horses, and marched with an army that thundered across deserts. But no armor, no kingdom, no elephant could stand against the will of Allah. It began in Yemen, then ruled by the Christian kingdom of Abyssinia. Abraha al-Ashram was their governor, a man of ambition, sharp mind, and burning jealousy. In the city of Sana'a, he built a church unlike anything the Arabs had seen. Its pillars shimmered with gold, its floors polished like mirrors. He named it Al-Qullays and declared, "This shall be the Kaabah of the south. No Arab will go to Makkah again." He sent messengers across Arabia, ordering tribes to turn away from the house of Ibrahim and come to his cathedral instead. But the Arabs, they were a people who knew lineage and loyalty. For generations they had faced that ancient cube in Makkah, the first house ever raised for Allah. They refused to abandon it. When news reached them of Abraha's boast, one of them, angry and insulted, traveled by night to Sana'a. He entered the grand church secretly and desecrated it in defiance. When Abraha awoke to hear what had been done, his rage burned like fire. His pride was wounded, his arrogance pierced. He swore an oath before his men, "I will not rest until I destroy the Kaabah with my own hands." And so began a march that would shake the desert. From the mountains of Yemen, Abraha gathered an army the likes of which Arabia had never seen. Thousands of soldiers, swords that glinted beneath the sun, banners that whipped in the wind. And at the front, massive elephants, towering beasts from Africa, brought to crush the stones of the Kaabah. The greatest among them was Mahmūd, a beast so mighty that even the ground trembled when it walked. Villages emptied as they passed, caravans fled, dust rose in clouds behind their march. To the tribes of Arabia, this was no ordinary army. It was a storm of power and pride. Abraha's heart swelled with arrogance. As the army advanced northward, they reached Taif, where the tribe of Thaqif met them. They feared Abraha's wrath and sought his favor. They said, "The house you seek is not ours. It stands in Makkah, the sanctuary of the Quraysh." They even sent a guide to lead him there. So the army continued, until the sacred valley of Makkah lay before them. The Quraysh were terrified. They had no army, no weapons, no defense. Their leader, Abdul Muttalib, the grandfather of the Prophet, peace be upon him, stood with quiet dignity. He went to meet Abraha, unarmed, calm, resolute. When Abraha saw him, he was struck by the man's presence. Abdul Muttalib's nobility filled the tent like a light that needed no words. Abraha asked through his interpreter, "What is it you seek, old man?" Abdul Muttalib replied, "I come only to ask for my camels that your soldiers took from my fields." Abraha laughed, astonished. "I have come to destroy your Kaabah, the center of your faith, and you speak to me of camels." The old man replied with calm faith, "I am the owner of the camels, so I ask for what is mine. As for the Kaabah, it has a Lord who will defend it." The words fell heavy in the air. Even Abraha's heart trembled for a moment, though he masked it with pride. He returned the camels but continued with his plan. That night, The sky over Makkah was silent, too silent. The people fled to the mountains, leaving the Kaaba empty. No guards, no soldiers, only the house of Allah standing beneath the stars. At dawn, Abraha gave the order to march. The trumpets of war echoed, dust rose in the light of morning, and at the front stood Mahmūd, the great elephant. But when the soldiers pulled its reins toward the Kaaba, it refused to move. They struck it knelt, they shouted, it stayed still. They turned it toward Yemen, and it rose and walked. They turned it toward Syria, and it moved again. But the moment they faced it toward the Kaaba, it sank to its knees and would not take a step. Abraha's men tried everything. The beast would not harm the house of Allah. And then the sky darkened. A strange sound filled the air, like wind cutting through silence. The soldiers looked up. The horizon shimmered. Then they saw them, flocks of birds, thousands upon thousands, filling the sky like a moving cloud. Each bird carried 3 stones, 1 in its beak, 2 in its claws. Small stones, harmless to the eye, but each one was a weapon sent by Allah. They descended, and the stones fell. Where each stone struck, flesh burned, armor melted, and men fell screaming. The desert turned into chaos. Horses reared, elephants fled. The mighty army scattered like leaves in a storm. Abraha watched in horror as his soldiers were torn apart by stones the size of dates, stones that shattered pride and flesh alike. He tried to run. His body broke, his power vanished. And there, in the valley he swore to conquer, Abraha realized too late. The Lord of the Kaaba needs no army to defend his house. Those who survived crawled back toward Yemen. Their faces were blistered, their flesh falling from bone. Abraha's body decayed as he rode. By the time he reached Sana'a, he was nothing but a shadow of arrogance, a man whose pride had melted under Allah's will. He died in agony, his empire forgotten. But the story of that day, the day of the elephant, was never forgotten. The Arabs named it Al-Fīl, the year of the elephant. And in that same year, in the same sacred city of Makkah, a child was born. A child who would grow to purify the house of Allah, to bring light after centuries of darkness. Muhammad ibn Abdullah, peace be upon him. Years later, when the Quran was revealed, Allah reminded the believers of that day. A chapter so short yet so powerful, it carried the thunder of his defense. Have you not seen how your Lord dealt with the companions of the elephant? Did he not make their plot go astray, and he sent upon them birds in flocks, striking them with stones of hard clay, and made them like eaten straw? Surah Al-Fīl. This is the story of Abraha, the story of a man who raised his hand against the sacred, and a Lord who answered without armies. A story written not in ink, but in the dust of fallen pride and the light of eternal protection. This is QissaVerse. Subscribe for more stories that awaken the soul.